What's up, everybody? I'm going to put on some music here and just kind of go over anything that I think that I need to pray about with you guys. Or if you guys have any questions, or if anyone even watches this, go ahead and ask me a question and I'll tell you maybe an answer to it that I may have, or I'll give you a Bible verse that takes care of it. So I'm going to put on some music here. Let's see. Get some instrumentals going on. Let's see what I can find for you guys. Let's try this one.
A lot of human.
1 second, I'm getting an ad from Bill Gates here. Let me skip past that. I don't need to hear that. All right. So many people, when they come to God, it's super fun and exciting at first. It's fun and exciting. It's because like when you get into a relationship with somebody, when you're just dating somebody, when you just get to know somebody and you can see nothing but good, right? And you're in that honeymoon phase, just got to know them. Everything they do is cute. Everything's awesome. They could do no wrong, right? And the other person feels like that way about you too. It's just an emotional thing that people go through and it's natural. It's good. I'm not saying that God or having a relationship with God is like a relationship with the person, but it goes to show that people get very excited with new things at first. Have you ever got something, a car, a computer, home, whatever it may be, just fill in the blank there, right? And whatever that thing was like your object of affection for so long, like you dreamt about it. One day I'm going to have that car. One day I'm going to open a business. One day I'm going to buy this camera I really love. One day I'm going to go to this place and eat dinner. I'm going to go to Las Vegas. Whatever it was. And the dreaming of it and the desiring for it and all the hard work you put in and you finally got it. And once you had it, maybe for a week that car was awesome. I've heard people tell me for a day, like even supercars are really cool. But not long after that, it becomes just another object that you own, put into your garage. Yeah, you still drive it and yeah, it's pretty cool. But you can't get that peace back, like that total like love for that thing back 100%. We get that way in our relationships with people too. You know, husbands and wives, the divorce rates are going up like crazy. But a lot of times it has to do with just our unrealistic expectations of what this relationship may mean. And our sinful nature causes us to always desire more and want more. Now, just laying that groundwork first is this. When you come to God, it's super exciting because at first it seems like everything's going your way, right? Everything's going good. You just met God. Heck, nothing can go wrong until it does. I find about year 1 to 3, something happens in your walk with God that could really shake you. And it's actually designed to go that way because you have an enemy of your souls, which is Satan, who his only plan and his only desire is to get you off of your relationship with God, to make you break, to make you not be excited anymore, to not commit. And you have your own flesh as well. Yourself, behind the scenes of your spirituality, your flesh or your sinful nature wants to take you down. It wants to go back to do the things that it used to do before you knew God. And that's just the way it is. You have the enemy, the demons, your flesh, sin, lust, temptation, other people. You have a lot of things pulling you away from your relationship with God. Here's a relationship they want to pull you down. And it will happen. If it hasn't happened to you yet, it's just a matter of when that time will come where you start getting pulled away from God. Yeah, at first, I find that God protects people a lot from those things as you're developing that relationship. You know, he treats you like a baby, like a child. But like any good parent, Like anyone who really loves you, he'll allow you to make your own choices. He'll allow other things to potentially get in the way because at some point it is your decision to follow God or not. So with all that being said, realize that it's not all going to be perfect. Following God isn't a ticket to a perfect, easy life. There are some amazing highs, though. I'll tell you that. There are amazing highs. When you're walking in the ways of God, there's no highs like it. But when you're walking in the lows, and even though you're doing right, the lows are pretty low. And you experience more of those lows than before you became a Christian sometimes, not always. Because now you have a self-awareness of that there should be a being that protects you from all these bad things. And it doesn't always happen. So anyways, God will never leave you nor forsake you. If you feel like you've lost your love for God, if you feel like you've lost your passion for him, just realize that's a natural part of the process. It's a natural part of following the Lord. You're not any different than other people. You're not doing the wrong things. Could there be something that you're doing that's breaking your relationship with him? Yeah, of course. I mean, that's something that you know, but 99.9% of the time, you know what that thing is, and you'll be able to release it. And when you do release it, you'll have your peace back. But I'm talking about the other times when God seems to pull away from you, when he was so close, like you could almost hear him in your ear, and then he disappears. And trials come. Things change. The things you thought he was going to give you don't happen. What are you going to do in the times when things don't go your way? Will you still believe in God? Will you still pray to him? Will you still seek him? Will you still worship him? If you answered yes to those questions, then you're on the right track. But if everything has to be smooth and perfect for you to follow him, you need to re-examine your life, because it says in the Bible that you need to count the cost of following God before you make that full commitment. But if you're weak, and if you feel like you made a commitment with God and now you're not able to keep it, I have good news for you too. When you are weak, he is strong. The fact that you haven't given up yet and that you're watching this tells me that you're serious about him and that you want to make it work. And yeah, the promises didn't happen. You think so far. Yeah, you didn't get the promotion you wanted, or you didn't get the relationship you wanted, or God, how could you fill in the blank again? God, how could you let them pass away when I prayed so hard for them? God, how could you leave me in my darkest moment when I followed you and I prayed with you? Those are all natural questions. Those are all natural. Those are okay. Keep that dialogue with God open. Even when it seems like your prayers are hitting the ceiling, remember this. God says in his word that he collects every single tear, every single drop from your eyes because of joy or because of pain, even because of shame. And he holds them in a bottle, and he has angels collect those, and he has them written down. He actually has written down every single sorrow that you've ever had in your life, even the times when it seemed like he was far away. He knows what you did for him. He knows what you've been through. He knows that you're at the breaking point, but you still haven't given up yet. For some of you, he knows that you think you've given up, but you got a mustard seed of faith left. Just a little bit, even a tenth of a mustard seed, but you still got something, and you want another touch from him. I promise you, he will move again in your life. I can't tell you the day of your deliverance, but it will come. I can't tell you the day that he's going to make the promise come true, but I will tell you this, he will fulfill the promise. There's a story in the Bible of a guy named Jacob, a guy that a lot of us can really relate to. Wasn't a perfect person, by any stretch of the means, just like you and just like me. In fact, he was kind of a messed up person. He stole his brother's birthright. He stole everything that was supposed to go to him. He lied to his father. And then when his brother was going to come get it back from him, meaning killing him, Jacob chose the cowardly route and ran away. He ran away. The guy who God loves, the guy who would eventually become Israel, was on the run, with nothing, no one to help him. And while he was on the run, in one of his darkest moments, Jacob had a dream of God. And in that dream, he was wrestling God. And he wrestled him all night, fought with God. You felt like you've done that? Like there's something in your life that you know you're holding on to that you should be releasing, but you just don't want to do it. You just don't want to release it. You might be wrestling with God for a long time. I've been there myself. And that thing you won't give up, you know it would be so easy if you just gave it up. I don't know what it is. I can't tell you. Everyone has a different thing. Dreams for your life, a relationship, passion that you have that you know isn't right, your timing, your health, your work, your job, your career, your college. A lot of those being the same thing, but whatever it is, you know that God is asking you to release that thing. It's causing you pain. It's causing you problems. Just like Jacob was wrestling with God, that's a very uncomfortable thing. It's not fun to wrestle. I mean, some people think it is, but it's painful. It's going to hurt. You're going to get scratched up and bruised. And God's just trying to get you to release this thing, but you just won't let it go. You're not the only person. There's many other people like you. In fact, Jacob was one of those people. He wrestled with God all night instead of submitting, to the point where God eventually said, okay, I'm not going to break your human will. I'm not going to force you to trust what I'm telling you. You want to wrestle with me all night? Hey, I love you. You prospered. Jacob, I'm going to give you a blessing. But God touched his hip. Look in the Bible. It's in the story of Genesis where God touches Jacob's hip while he's wrestling him, just to show him that at any moment, if God wanted, he could completely disable you. He could make you do the thing that he's telling you to do. He could break you. He could make it hurt. But God doesn't want to work that way. But at the end, he touches Jacob's hip and his hip gets dislocated and Jacob can no longer wrestle, but he still holds on. Maybe it wasn't God who touched the hip of you or broke you, but it was circumstances, right? These circumstances have taken you down. But Jacob still held on to God in that moment. And he held to God and he said, God, I will not let you go until you bless me. And you know the funny thing about that? God is in a dominant position. He has Jacob at his heels, begging him. And God looks at Jacob and gives him a blessing. He fulfills the wish of Jacob. Even though Jacob wouldn't submit, even though Jacob wouldn't give up, even though Jacob was trying to wrestle God and overcome him, God listened to his request and blessed him. And what did he do that day? He blessed him with a new name. His name Jacob meant deceiver. What's your name? People watching, what's your sin? Is it lust? Was it adultery? Is it gambling? Is it drinking? Is it relationships that you're hiding? Is it stealing? Whatever it is, fill in the blank. Jacob's was deceiver. He got through his life by deceiving others. Everything he received was being sketchy, right? But God didn't see him for what other people called him, or even for what Jacob himself was doing to himself in the sketchy ways of his life. God says, from now on, Jacob, deceiver, you shall be called Israel. Basically, different interpretations of that name, governed by God, blessed by God. It was a big shift. It was basically somebody who was a criminal being called by God someone who is highly favored and blessed. And that's the kind of father that you and I have. He sees you in your weak position, but just keep holding on because a blessing is coming out for you, okay? So I started the message by saying, look, maybe your relationship with God is fading. If it hasn't happened yet, it's going to run into a crisis point. But at your darkest moment, when you feel like you're going to give up, I prophesy over you that God will come through at just the last second. You're not going to fall. You're not going to fail. Your business isn't going to crash. You're not going to go to zero. You're not going to die. You will live and not die and proclaim the goodness of the Lord. All the bad things that you are telling yourself that are going to happen for sure, nothing's going to go right. God's left you. There will come a moment where you look back and laugh because God will come through again. So be strong. Follow him. Seek his face, whether you feel him or you don't. It's blessed when you feel him, but you're also blessed when you don't. It feels good when you feel him. But you know what? And it doesn't feel good when you don't feel that. But if you can still praise him in those moments, a great blessing is waiting for you on the other side. So you will get your passion back. You will get your strength back. If you're in a good moment right now, go ahead and lift somebody else up that you know who's struggling. Because we all go through things that can only hurt us. There's a situation that happened to me that if it happened to you, it wouldn't hurt you as bad. But there's also things that's happened to you that I would look on the outside and go, come on, that's not so bad. People won't understand it. But it hurts you. God knows. Yeah, God may have allowed it to happen, but there's a reason why. And I promise you, if you keep seeking him, you will continue to grow. Your best days are still ahead of you. You haven't seen the best times yet. Stay in the word of God. Pray every day. And I promise if you didn't listen to anything else, any other teachers or anything, but you just read the Bible every day, in the morning and in the night, you would prosper and you would have a great relationship with God. So go out this week, start your day by reading the Bible, end it by reading the Bible. Even if it's just a couple sentences, a chapter, and whatever it says, let it speak to you. Don't worry about what other people are telling you about it. Let it speak to you. You can hear from him yourself. And when you do this, you will see your best days. So, all right, everybody, hope you like this. Subscribe. I'll talk to you soon.